Hey, we got a special treat for you today. We're here in the Ventrac factory, and we are going to take a tour of the factory. Aaron's going to show us the assembly line for the 4000 series tractor. We're going to walk through all of that one by one. So I think we'll get to see even more attachments than you saw in our earlier video where we were actually working at that children's home. If you haven't seen that video, go take a look. But I think you're going to enjoy this tour. Stay with us.
In through that door comes raw steel, and it goes from that area to staging and either onto a laser there or here. This is our newest laser. Really nice and fast, but it's not running right now. Basically, we get everything in either flat sheets or tube or whatever, bar stock. Everything that's tan, red, and sometimes black is stuff that we made on the tractor. We make almost everything here, all the attachments and everything. Obviously, we buy in engines and tires and various components, but for the most part, it comes in raw material, we work it here, and then it leaves final product. So you'll get to see kind of that flow of how it all works too. All this stuff that you see on these racks is already through fab, bent and ready to be either welded or sent straight to powder coat.
The bands and the hulls.
So yeah, these are finished pieces, not finished parts, but pieces. They'll get sent to powder, and then after that to assembly lines. You can see raw metal here, and here the sheet stock goes into these shelves and then gets pulled off of these lasers automatically. And these things run pretty much full time. So even when we're not here or over the weekend, these will be running, and they'll be kind of on alert. So if there's an issue or something, they'll text one of the fab guys. It's like you've got somebody in there working on them now, so everything's shut down. But you can see these lasers are all running different parts out, and they basically run non-stop. We keep them busy. We keep having to add these things because we just need the capacity. But you can see once it comes off, these will unload themselves into stacks, and then we'll bring them over here, and the guys will hammer out these parts. Just they come out pretty easy, but they've got little nicks that kind of hold them in. They'll hammer out these parts, and these are all individuals. They're organized to try to be as efficient as possible, use the entire sheet, and then we have obviously space that doesn't get used. These will go into scrap hopper, recycled, and then it'll be steel for somebody else somewhere else.
That's cool.
So once it comes off the lasers, it usually goes through this aisleway because most things need bent in some way. So these are all computer-controlled hydraulic presses that they're all programmed by part number to have the exact depths programmed already, so that adjusts. And people just feed them in, and it kind of bends automatically. And once it comes through here, it goes over to weld, and that's this cell over here. And we have a number of different, both hand weld stations and robot stations. So it'll go through some combination of all of that. And you can see kind of this stuff is staged, ready to go. You can see it's been bent. Like this is a good example. It's been bent here. Eventually it'll get welded, but this is ready to go through a weld. You see all the stuff they're working on in process now. That's a mainframe for a boom mower. So we'll see that when we go out there. We'll see kind of how that comes together. But a lot of our attachments, since we have a belt-driven PTO, have a hydraulic system built into the attachment, just because it needs that extra function to perform all the tasks.
That's what we saw with the rock race, right?
Yes.
We were belt driving a hydraulic pump.
Belt-driving hydraulic pump to motor, yes. And so it allows us to use a belt drive, but eventually end up with hydraulic power. So it's a good way. It's a good mix of getting that hydraulic drive, final drive, through our standard PTO that we use.
Yeah.
So it works really well. In front are just prep areas. You guys will get stuff clamped onto jig, and then they'll send it back to the robots so that it welds consistently, and it has a pattern that it follows. You have a really good weld that way.
So this whole table is going to rotate around?
Yeah, this gives us the opportunity to take parts off, that have just been welded, and prep for the next ones to be going on. So it really saves a lot of time, a lot more efficient. So you'll see right there. And it'll start going instantly, and then on the other side.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Spinning. So this would be a mower deck. This is the actual main deck shell of one of our finish mowers. See it finish welding underneath. But that whole assembly rotates and changes as the robot works.
Wow.
Yeah, we can see the red.
Yeah. I can feel the heat.
Yeah.
I assume you use these robots for more than just one part.
Yeah.
It can be programmed for...
Yeah, they can be programmed for all kinds of different stuff. And then we've still got hand welding going on just because, you know, there's certain things that just make more sense to do it by hand. This is basically the beginning of our 4500 tractor line. Our 4500 tractor is our most popular model. It's the most versatile. It sells to the most different markets. There's a lot of customers for this tractor. You can see it starts just as basically nothing. Transaxles on a cart. And then as we go through the line, you'll see every new step, there's a new part, a new process added to it.
Transaxle is one piece that you have brought in.
Yes. So here we're adding some more hydraulic components. So the next step, see the main frame start to go on. This is what would eventually be the engine bay. This is your center pivot. You can see where the articulation happens, and then also the fact that it oscillates. It's kind of controlled by this link down here, but it allows for that motion, the articulating and oscillating. This is our steering cylinder. All of the steering action of the tractor is done just by moving the cylinder. So there's those 3 different locations. Obviously, the inner circle is the tightest turning radius. You can use that with single wheels. The center circle would be for dual wheels, and then the outer one would be for if it has going to have a cab on it.
It's looking like a tractor already.
Yeah.
Add a couple more things. This is our SDLA lever. You can see this strokes the pumps and motors to actually do the work. Eventually the seat will end up right over here. This is where you're asking earlier, hydraulic oil cooler.
Yeah.
So this is what it looks like when it's not encapsulated with all those shields. Fuse box. This ends up going kind of right in there against the tractor seat.
The bulk of this steel looks like 1/8 inch or something, right?
10 gauge,
10
yeah,
gauge?
that's that equivalent.
Yeah, so right about 8 inches.
And then some of it's thicker than that for the actual frame pieces. But there's a lot of engineering there that makes it stronger. Pieces like this, and there's some other rods and things that add to the strength. I mean, how long have you been making Ventrac tractors?
The first one was 96, right? Around 96.
And even that wasn't really a first generation tractor. You had the earlier ones before that were branded differently. But
they've been ultra reliable tractors. That's one of the things that we hear from customers is it's not the type of equipment that they can buy and kind of expect to be disposable in some number of years. We've got a lot of these things out there that have got decades on them of pretty normal use.
so it's all hydraulic driven, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you got the engine up here. You don't have any power shaft running through here.
Correct.
This
Yeah.
is just hydraulics, and then there's, I assume, a pump
Yep.
somewhere here to. Maybe this is the main hydraulic feed here.
All of the hydraulic drive stuff gets funneled through these hoses through the center of the tractor to the back, and then the front's just already up there.
That's the hydraulic pump here.
Yeah.
Oh, the hydraulic
you
pump's
mean
up here. This is just
So the engine sits there, powers that. And you're right, these are the 2 main power lines going back and forth between the 2 motors.
Okay, makes sense. This is the hydraulic pump. I just didn't see it. So the engine directly powers the pump, and then the hydraulics are out of this.
Getting the dash on, this is where steering wheel goes.
How long does it spin in a given station?
Is it
Bunch of
just-
marketing guys trying to
kept
explain how
adding
this thing's built, right?
Yeah. I'm actually impressed with that you do know so much about it, and you are in marketing.
I mean,
Well, you're in engineering.
they're really, everyone we've met here knows about the tractor. We haven't
Yes.
met anyone here that I don't think would not know how to use the tractor.
Of course, you didn't go to the HR department, but we won't go there.
I think they can figure it out. We forced pretty much everybody onto these things to try them at
Okay,
least.
that's good to hear.
Well, a lot of places I've worked, people don't have a clue what product they're actually working on. So I really love the family feel.
Yeah.
Makes sense. It's family owned, but it seems like everybody is involved at some level in the actual tractor, no matter what the role is. I really appreciate that.
Something unique to this tractor is the weight transfer that we have built in. So this spring right here is kind of it's a mechanical addition to the hydraulics, the front hydraulic hitch arms. You can see with no hydraulic pressure, this moves really easily. There's no resistance here. So if you had an attachment on the end of this and you put it in the float, I mean, it would just drop to the ground.
Yeah.
There's almost nothing there. Press it.
F10 gear.
Press it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we have is, we call it weight transfer. And I'll put it in the highest setting. That changes this spring. So it changes where this spring engages the hitch arms, and it adds some mechanical leverage.
So
to
then
where-
I can't do.
Yeah.
I think I need another cheeseburger, Christy.
I'm sure you'll get one
Always.
soon.
Okay.
So on some of our heavier attachments, it really helps to carry the weight of those and help to make it so that the attachment doesn't drive the tractor. And
So
it
that when
also-
you let it down, it doesn't just drop like crazy, and so that you don't have to have additional hydraulic cylinders to pick up a really heavy attachment. This makes perfect sense.
Correct. And what the main benefit too is that it transfers some of that force back to the front axle, so it really increases traction. So anytime you're working on a hillside or somewhere where traction can be limiting with wet conditions or something, having weight transfer engaged really helps the drivability. Just another one of the features that we have in these things. Try to engineer them in a way that really tackles things practically.
Yeah.
Here we are. You can see a couple more components. We've got fuel tank. Some of the fuel lines are in now. So what do we got here? Ooh, we got an engine. So that's a big addition on this step. So this one looks like it's a Kubota engine. So we have, I think Christy, you asked earlier, we have 4 different engine options for this tractor. There are 2 Kubota engines. One of them's diesel, one of them's gas. And then we also have a Kawasaki gas and a Vanguard gas. The Vanguard is an air-cooled, and the Kawasaki is a DFI, fuel injection. So the Kubota gas is our highest horsepower. That's kind of the result of Tier 4 regulations. And
Yeah. Okay. So
being a small tractor, we don't have a lot of extra space to add the diesel particulate filters
Right.
and stuff to get bigger diesel engines under that Tier 4 designation. So we have to stick to the sub 25 horse.
makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So this time we got a radiator.
Yep. We got a radiator on this step. This is our PTO clutch. A lot of the times the tractors coming down the line have a serial number and a destination already, so it's specific what they're getting, what type of engine, what type of accessories.
Okay.
The way our tractors are built, not every tractor leaves with a 3-point, but the ones that do are added during the assembly process because it's a much quicker way to do it than to do it after the fact.
Looks like we're adding fluids at this step. I believe these are
Yep.
hydraulic transfer hoses here.
And everything plumbed. This is another Kubota gas. Like I said, it's our most popular engine. We've got air filter on now, getting that plumbed up.
Finishing the fenders here. That's
Yep. This will be eventually the front fender here. You can see as you release this pulley comes down. You would slip your belt on for your attachment and then connect it. We have something extra here. These are crucial. Some wheels. Looks like this one's getting a suspension seat, so that's an option. Another Kubota gas, but this one, you can tell we're pretty close to finished on this tractor. Basically lacking
lights.
the hood and a couple finishing touches, and this thing should be about ready to go. So this is the official end of the assembly line, and then after that, some tractors end up getting a couple little tweaks here and there. Usually the ROPS gets sent in the crate. That'll get installed by the dealer before customer picks it up just for shipping logistics. This little jig here is a wheelie bar. So this goes onto the tractor when it's done. And you can see the floor is real slick out here where it's polished. This tractor will come off and they'll run full throttle backwards and forwards a few times to make sure there's no pressure spikes, there's no leaks, there's no hydraulic issues. Just kind of make sure everything's seated correctly and ready to go before it gets to the customer.
Suspension seat, that's something you need because of all the cheeseburgers you eat.
Yeah. I need a little extra suspension, don't I?
The dial is actually in cheeseburger.
Is it how many
Number of
cheeseburgers?
cheese-
Okay.
yeah.
Oh,
That'll
that's
help.
really
That'll
nice.
make it.
Awesome.
That'll make it easy for me.
That's a great selling point.
So this is what we call our SSV. That stands for Sidewalk Snow Vehicle. This is our newest tractor, and it's a little bit of a departure compared to our normal tractors because obviously straight frame, no articulation. This is essentially a skid steer. It's set up the same way, so it has 4 independent hydraulic wheel motors.
It's been great to see and walk through a successful and thriving manufacturing shop here in the good old USA. Please check out our website, tractortimewithtim.com. And thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time on Tractor Time with Tim.